Alright guys, welcome back. Today, we're doing an update on the PPs. Yes, my PPs. They were long and hard. Anyways, it's been a while since I did an update on it. There's been a lot of progress versus not so much progress. So first, let's start with the original. Let's move this over here. The PPS-43 kit, which was the first parts kit that I bought, as you can see, is rather limp.
Right.
But there's a reason for that. So I've got this thing pretty much welded together where I want it. However, I do have some tweaking to do on it. I haven't done anything really on the rifle or the kit because, well, you know, I've been waiting on finding somewhere to be able to get the semi-auto bolt modified. But I have finally found somebody who can do the modifications required for the bolt, so I can finish this up. So here soon, when I get a little extra money, I'm going to be sending that off and having that done. And while that's gone, I'll be going through and tweaking this receiver a little bit. So it is completely done, pretty much. As you can see here, during the last weld, the shroud warped a little bit. So I'm probably going to attempt to heat and bend it straight first, and if that doesn't work, then I'll have to cut and re-weld. The same thing with the receiver section. It warped a little bit during the last weld. Remember, I'm doing this without jigs and without a TIG. I'm doing this with an old cheap MIG welder and no jig specifically for this. So I'm going to try to heat and bend this back to where it needs to go. Chances are I'm probably going to have to need to cut it. So that's where I am on the PPS-43. I can't really do anything else with it at this moment until I send off that bolt. Now, the PPSH-41 is a completely different situation. As you can see, it's done. The whole rifle, everything's done. I got a little bit of tweaking to do. Like, I gotta find a pin for this rear cap here, and then get it to sit nice and tight. That's the last little bit of tweaking I have to do. I'm still debating on what I'm going to do for the finish. Right now, I just cold glued all the welding spots, and as you can see, it doesn't match up with the original steel very well. So this might get coated with something. I'm not exactly sure what just yet, but it's going to get coated with something. Now, I am in kind of in the same situation with this rifle as I am with the PPS-43, as in I'm waiting on bolt modifications. Now, the bolt modification on this one, I do not have somebody that can do it for me yet. I'm still locating that, but the rifle as a whole is far further along than that. And surprisingly enough, it was easier to weld together than the PPS-43. So the 41, it's quite a long, but I'll open it up here and show you kind of what I've got going here so far. So I have my denial bar in here. My bolt is cut, and then there's a denial bar in the lower as well. The lower, the fire control group has been converted to full auto or semi-auto only. So pretty much what I had to do some pinning and welding, and as you can see, selector does not move whatsoever. Now for this one here, I am going to be doing a true striker fire. So what most people do with these kits is what they'll go ahead and do, and they'll do they call it striker fire, but in reality it's a linear hammer. So cut the bolt in half like so, and in this front half of the bolt they'll do a retained firing pin, spring-loaded firing pin. And what happened when you cock it back, this part of the bolt here has the catch that catches on the sear, and it will stay in reverse in the backward position while the front of the bolt goes forward. So this means it's not an open bolt anymore, it's a closed bolt. When you pull the trigger, the sear moves out of the way, this will shoot forward, strike that firing pin. And, you know, it goes poo, and does everything over again. I'm going to do it a little differently. I'm going to do a true striker fire. So everything's going to be exactly the same, except this back section is actually going to have the firing pin attached to it, and it's not going to be string retained. So it's going to, the firing pin's going to go stick to this, go through the bolt. So when this gets locked in the rear position on the sear, the firing pin is stuck back as well, and the firing pin will be a good, you know, inch, 2 inches back inside of here. And then when I fire, the whole firing pin will go forward. 1 second. Sorry about that, I had a business call. So anyways, like I was saying, the firing pin is going to be attached to this rear bolt section, and it's going to go through this front bolt section. So when it's locked back in the rear position and I release the sear, the whole firing pin and this rear section is going to move forward and strike the primer on the cartridge. Now, I'm doing this for 2 reasons. One, it's going to help keep the bolt aligned with the with this, because if you can see with the way I trimmed it, I was a little sloppy when doing this. I didn't do this with any kind of machine or anything. I did this with an angle grinder. So I really Bubba did it up. So I'm doing it to where the firing pin itself going through both bolts is going to make sure it helps stay aligned and straight. So everything's going to help stay straight and aligned because that bolt is going through. And I might even do another couple guide rods inside of it. But I think the firing pin is going to be well enough as it is. So that's where I'm at on that. Now the spring that I'm using on it, if you look, it's just a double spring system. So there's the factory recoil spring on the inside that goes through and attaches to the front bolt here. But then behind it, it has a second spring that just goes over it that only contacts this rear bolt section. And it's actually a 1911 recoil spring. I'm going to see if I can get this locked back really fast so I can kind of show you what it's going to do. I still have some tuning that's going to have to be done with it to get this all to operate as intended. So you can see the front half of the bolt is forward and locked in position. The rear half is locked in the back. So that's all going to be firing pin right there. That's how far the firing pin is going to come back out of the bolt. And you see when I pull the trigger, boom. That's all it's going to do. So I still haven't found a shop that can do this modification yet on this bolt. And once I do, I'll probably go through and get this finished up pretty fast because I really want to shoot this one. So that's kind of where I'm at on both of these. Now I am trying to get my hand on another bolt, another parts kit. I have that Yugo M49 kit. I'm trying to get rid of that one, have it find a new home, and I'm trying to find an Israeli FAL kit. So if I can find one of those, that's gonna be my next build project. And then also, you know, like I said in a previous video, I really want to get a LMG this year too, or well, next year technically. But anyways, that's it for today. Y'all have a good one.